and almost inaccessible. A third cave is a much smaller cave, like a single room with a single stone bed, which was probably occupied by the leader of the group of Munis. There is an inscription on the brow of this small cave. This cave site in particular in Vikramangalam faced the danger of extinction due to quarrying. However, timely intervention has stopped the quarrying activity and saved this historic site. In contrast to this tiny cave, there is a huge cave in Mettupatti village near Anaipatti, popularly known as Siddharmalai. The entrance to this cave is 297 feet long. Like several other caves of this period, this was also declared a protected monument in 1904 by a British magistrate of the area. The inscriptions here on the stone pillow loft of the 10 stone beds are datable to the 2nd and 1st century BC. The inscription engraved on the brow of the cave clearly indicates that it was occupied by the Digambara Jain monks. The Jain monk is called as Amanan, and the inscription refers to Madurai, the modern Madurai city. Let us move on to a cart road on the Melur-Tirupattur road. We are now on the way to Valaval. This hill, popularly known as Panchapandavar Malai, has several large boulders. A cave has formed on all the sides of a large boulder which touches the floor in the middle. This cave was apparently in occupation for several centuries. While the earlier caves had only stone beds and inscriptions, this cave has 5 sculptures of Tirthankaras. As we further move to caves that were occupied in later centuries, we find more and more sculptures and ornamentation. An interesting feature is that this cave is known as Palli, meaning school. Most Jain caves of further periods have got the name of Samana Palli, meaning Jain school. It has been a reasonable hypothesis that the Jain Munis were probably the earliest in Tamil Nadu to conduct some kind of a school where students learnt special subjects, including philosophy. Thus the word Palli, originally meaning a Jain institution, has come to mean any school in the Tamil language. As we move along the centuries, we reach Alagarmalai, which is about 24 kilometers from Madurai on the Melur road. It is again a steep climb. Once near the cave, we realize that this is a 60 feet long cave with a height of 20 feet in the center. This ancient Palli has a spring in one corner. There are some inscriptions engraved at an inaccessible height. There are 13 Tamil Brahmi inscriptions of the 2nd century BC which reveal the names of different craft persons. Obviously, this cave was in use for over 1,000 years. For a little below the cavern, there is a Tirthankara image, probably of the 9th century AD. There are also inscriptions in Vattayelitte, which is a later-day Tamil script than the earlier Brahmi script. One inscription records the name of Jain preceptor Ajanandi. About 50 kilometers from Madurai, in another direction, we drive towards Karungalakudi. There are several caves here at a height, one above the other. This site has also been apparently occupied and active for several centuries. There is a relatively larger Tirthankara bas-relief on a big boulder by the side of the cavern. The inscription below the sculpture reveals that Acharya Ajanandi was instrumental in creating this sculpture in the 9th century AD. There are also instruments like a mortar carved out of stone, indicating that the monks were preparing herbal medicines. At Perumal Kovil Malai near the Madurai University is the village called Kongar Puliyangulam. There is a boulder rock with caverns with more than 50 stone beds. The inscriptions inform us about the donations of people who took care of the Jain monks. On a rock at a lower level from the cave is a bold relief sculpture of a Tirthankara seated in Padmasana. The inscription records that this sculpture was caused to be made under instructions from Acharya Ajanandi, showing a connectivity of the different Jain Pallis during the 9th century, which were apparently under the influence of this Acharya. We find that Acharya Ajanandi caused another Tirthankara sculpture to be made in Arittapatti. Arittapatti is on the Trichy highway in the area now known as Kalinjamalai. The Brahmi inscriptions indicate the antiquity of the place, while the Tirthankara sculpture with later Vattelittu inscriptions show that they belong to the 10th century. The Tirthankara sculpture, as well as the lamps on either side, retains a reasonable amount of the original paint. There is also a painted lotus base in the sculpture. On the trail of the Jain sculptures, south of Madurai on the Kambam road, we reach Samanamalai. The very name indicates a hillock of the Jains. There is a lotus tank and an Ayyanar temple at the foothills. By the side of the temple wall, well laid out steps on two sides of the hill take us to three Jain places of worship. The oldest of these is Mahadevi Perumpalli. We witness vestiges of a structured temple. There are Tamil and Kannada inscriptions of the 9th century. On the dilapidated pillars of the old temple, two Dwarapalaka sculptures of this old structure have survived, now as the Dwarapalakas of the Ayyanar temple at foothills. One Tirthankara sculpture of Vrishabhaswami has also survived, which is installed in the Ayyanar temple and is being worshipped as Virumappasamy by the local people. The second place of worship in Samanamalai is Pechipallam. There are 8 Jain sculptures here. 4 Parshvanada, a Bahubali, besides those of 3 other Tirthankaras. Another set of steps behind the Ayyanar temple lead you to Sreshtipodavu, meaning the cave of the Jain merchants. The name has got corrupted over the centuries as Chettipodavu. The name is derived from the fact that the Jain merchants donated for the creation of the sculptures in this cave. There is a Tirthankara sculpture about 8 feet in height, chiseled on a rock face in an inaccessible height. The 9th century inscription below this gives credit for this creation to Abhinanda Bhattarar. Inside the cave there are 3 sculptures of Tirthankaras and of Yakshish. This hill on a diversion in the Madurai-Trichy highway superficially resembles an elephant couching on the ground. Hence people call it the Aanai Malai, meaning the elephant hill. Once we walk up and reach the top of the hill, we get an aerial view of a Shiva temple at the foot of the hills. At the summit of the hill is a natural cavern with stone beds and Brahmi inscription of the 1st century. There are sculptures at the entrance of the cave with inscriptions indicating that they belong to the 9th and 10th centuries. One of these bas-reliefs is that of Bahubali. Another, that of Neminatha, the 22nd Tirthankara. A third, that of Parshvanada, and the others of other Tirthankaras besides sculptures of Yakshis. The fact that they were once plastered and painted is apparent from the remnants. Opposite Madurai Kamaraj University is a hill range called Karadipatti Perumal Malai. As we climb these rocks on this hill range at Muttupatti, we reach yet another Jain cavern with stone beds which are locally referred to as Panjavar Padukkai, implying that the beds are of the Pancha Pandavas.